on the top English League football in 2017 compared to leading bookmakers. Betfair. Win bigger. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org. Data provided by TX Odds. Betfair Sportsbook prices compared against leading UK bookmakers on match odds placed between January 1st and March 30th, 2017. Full terms at betfair.com.
Ray Stubbs, tomorrow afternoon from 1 on TalkSport 2.
Join me, Ray Stubbs, as I lift the bonnet on the jalopy of sporting news and spray water dispersant onto the distributed cap of controversy.
Ray Stubbs, tomorrow afternoon from 1 on TalkSport 2.
A very good evening, you're listening to TalkSport 2. Coming up from 9 p.m. this evening, you'll be hearing the Sky Bet EFL Review Show with Ian Abrahams and Scott Laird. Don't forget Sports Day's back tomorrow at 7 a.m. as Russ Hargreaves brings you your essential roundup of the morning's top sports stories. Russ will be looking ahead to the Premier League leaders Chelsea taking on Southampton, as well as the IPL clash between the Royal Challengers Bangalore and the Sunrisers Hyderabad, live on TalkSport 2. But now it's time for the game Marcotti.
Hello and welcome to the Game Podcast from the Times. I'm Gabriel Marcotti, and I thank you for joining us. I know there are many other things that you could be doing right now, like perhaps using a toilet brush on your bidet, or perhaps getting caught up on other stuff. But no, with me in the studio today, I'm joined by Alison Rudd and the only living Gearbrandt in captivity. It's Mr. James Gearbrandt. And down the line, far more interesting than these two, is the man who, for charity, ran a marathon in a tutu. It's Matt Dickinson.
Hi, Gab. I've still got the tutu on. I'm wearing it all around the house. I've got into it.
You English people and your strange fetishes. Now, you did it to raise money for charity, and I wanted to know if you had reached your goal. And
we did, thanks to the generosity of yourself and many people like you. Yes, to cut a long story short, a daughter of a very good close friend of mine died in September rowing, and in those circumstances you just rally around to do any tiny little thing you can to, well, show that you're thinking of them, I guess. And we, among many other things we're doing, did a run for the charity Momentum that look after families of people with sick or dying children, and we raised 11 grand and counting. So yep, saw Mark Chapman from the BBC tweet that the marathon is just one of those things that shows the human race in a very good light, and it certainly felt like that yesterday.
Well, and I'm sure there's a Just Giving page that's still out there and open if you want to get involved. Now, we've got the PFA Player of the Year Awards to discuss. I'm sure we will go and mention how absolutely stupid this award is, given the format. We'll be looking ahead to the Champions League semifinals, maybe talking a tiny bit of Classico, which I really enjoyed last night. But we start, of course, with the greatest cup competition in the world. Alison, Wembley, semifinals, Arsenal and City. I thought these two semifinals lived up to the hype. I watched them on the television apparatus, and I really enjoyed them.
Well, one was a lot better than the other. Come on.
Which one was better?
There was a classic. The Chelsea-Spurs game was a classic.
Yeah, but Arsenal and City, the drama, the fact that, you know...
The drama as in all matches have drama. There was quite a lot of poor football in the Arsenal-City game. And it was stop, start. Just because it went to extra time does not make it a classic.
More interesting to me is Arsene Wenger changing things up, right? This is the guy who we've said he never changes, blah, blah, blah. He's got his philosophy, yak, yak, yak. If Stuart Robson were here, he'd say he lacks a defensive structure. James, he went 3 at the back. He dropped Bellerin, who y'all keep talking as if he's some kind of God's gift to football. He played a 3-4-2-1. This is, for him, this is pretty unusual, right?
I mean, it definitely is unusual because I think he played it in the league game before, hadn't he? But I think before that, he hadn't played a back three for like 20 years, I think. At the very least, you have to kind of say it shows a little bit of flexibility and the ability to kind of adapt to circumstance. Whether it will be a long-standing solution, I'm not sure. I'm not sure is it a system that fits the squad particularly well at the moment? I don't know, but as a kind of stopgap, it's worked quite well for them.
Did it work in this game? I think when you consider City hit the woodwork twice, and obviously the disallowed goal, and we can blame the the linesman, whose name is Child, by the way, as I discovered today, isn't it? Like, isn't his name like Steve Child? I mean, you got wonderful names. I mean, there used to be a linesman called Roger Bone. I always thought of bone as a verb, actually, more than. But anyway, and now Steve Child. But it seems that a lot of the incidents went against City. Is that unfair?
Yeah, I think if you step back, although I was rather mean-spirited at the start, wasn't I, saying it wasn't a great game. I don't think it was, but I do think in terms of prettiness of the football and chances created, City could count themselves as unlucky, certainly. You have to then imply that means that the key was not the Arsenal formation, the key was bad luck. But, I mean, I'm not surprised Wenger's gone for the back three, partly because it's in vogue, but partly he's, in press conferences, he has praised it as a formation that allows you to be more defensively structured and to sort of get stuck in a bit more, which is something, an accusation that's been levelled at Arsenal so much that you kind of think he has to have gone to bed at night thinking, how can I make people believe that my team are able to tackle and think defensively and put guts before flair? And if you play three at the back, you are just a bit more. The focus is more on your destructive players, perhaps, than in your flair players. And they certainly seemed to take their impetus from the three at the back and play like they were going to be pragmatic, which, as we all know, isn't what Arsenal are very often. And in that sense, then they did deserve to win because they played the occasion and they played the opposition intelligently.
Where I'm sort of loath to suddenly start thinking Wenger has, stumbled across, the future, or this is the answer. I mean, you look at Oxlade-Chamberlain, who was one of their best performers. He played at right wing back. I mean, it was only a month ago that Wenger was talking about how, Central has always been where he's seen him, that, he needs to sort of stick to that and he needs to stay at Arsenal to learn. And we know Oxlade-Chamberlain is looking at a move to Liverpool, thinks there's a temptation to learn a lot more under a new manager because he has completely stalled at Arsenal for some seasons now. It's just careers just that had a lot of hope has just completely faltered. So suddenly he's thrown at wing back and performs admirably, but that's a complete change from what Wenger was talking about, his best role being very recently, and the idea that suddenly get off Arsenal's back, critics. I'm not buying that. I've sort of got to the point where I've seen enough completely sort of indefensible performances and just failure to do things like he did yesterday with a back three. I mean, I was at the Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge where they just sleepwalked into a defeat. I mean, they didn't try anything. They didn't try and do.
Spărut complet, greșește Pintili care are galben, scapă Țucudean, vine Bălașa la dublaj, Bălașa și Țucudean pierde această minge. Temoche se duce în față, ultimul 97, centrarea lui Tamaș și o intervenție a lui Vlad Morar foarte aproape de autogol.
Și este un corner extrem de important. Cine știe cât mai avem până la finalul partidei, dar se poate dovedi o fază foarte, foarte importantă. Fernando Boldrin este cel care execută aproape toți jucătorii Gazelor în atac. Boldrin respinge Râmniceanu. Continuă însă atacul roșu-albaștrilor. Florin Tănase este la minge, încearcă să depășească pe vână. Recuperează jucătorul Viitorului și trimite mingea în afara terenului. Suntem aproape de finalul celor 5 minute de prelungiri, însă atacul continuă.
Centrarea lui Pintili în care Bălașa! Bălașa trimite peste poartă, incredibil.
În 3 puncte între cele două echipe, toate reacțiile imediat la Fotbal Club. Vă așteaptă Radu Naum și manual, desigur. Ideea este una absurdă, dar din ceea ce am văzut astăzi la Iași și aici, pe Arena Națională, se termină 1-1 duelul dintre FCSB și Viitorul. Rămân 3 puncte între cele două echipe, toate reacțiile imediat la Fotbal Club. Vă așteaptă Radu Naum și invitații săi. Mâine avem fotbal din Cupa României, Astra CS Poli Timișoara de la ora 20. Ionuț Angheluță și George Dobre, vă mulțumesc pentru atenție. Rămâneți alături de noi pentru spectacolul campionilor. Toate cele bune. La revedere!